Namaste. A very warm welcome to the Vedic Astrology Masterclass series. I'm Miss Anjali and I'll be your host for this session. Today's masterclass will be given by Sri Niranjan Babu Bangalore. He will be teaching about marital problems and remedies. Sri Niranjan Babu is the co-founder and chairman of the Raman and Rajeshwari Research Foundation and is a revered name in the field of Vastu Shastra. He is the chief editor of the astrological e-magazine, the original of which was founded by his great-grandfather Professor Surya Narayan Rao in 1895. Sri Niranjan Babu is held in high esteem by famous achievers, prominent religious institutions, spiritual leaders with a worldwide following, and corporate houses, all of whom have consulted him for Vastu. Those who have benefited from his expertise include ISKCON, Shivananda Ashram Yoga Farm, the Dharmsthala Manjudaneshwara Dharmotana Trust, and the Pidam, sorry, Avaduda Datha Pidam in Mysore, to name a few. A very warm welcome to you, Sri Niranjan Babuji. We'll now begin the masterclass on marital problems and remedies. Kindly note that any questions that you might have can be typed and posted in the comment section. And at the end of the session, the speaker will answer them one by one. Sri Niranjan Babuji, over to you.
Thank you. Namaste to all of you. Good evening and good morning. I'm happy to interact with you after quite some time. Let's begin today's class by paying my reverential pranams to my respected parents, who are my first gurus, Dr. B.V. Raman and Srimati Rajeshwari Raman. Today, this August month was the 110th Jayanti of my father, who all of you know was known as Jyotisha Pitamaha, and he edited the astrological magazine for over 68 years. So let's see. Today's topic is, of course, to do with marital problems, but I will also include many of the other problems that come in one's family's life. It need not necessarily only be with the spouse. It could be with the family members. A few of that, I'll try to give you some guidelines and remedies on that. And if you follow, I'm sure, all of you will lead a very happy and healthy life. Basically, Vastu Shastra, of course, is to do with space. I will make use of a little jyotisha also and a little of Vastu Shastra when I do my class. Basically, Vastu Shastra is to do with not just the construction of houses. It is to do with the designing of the layouts. It is there to do with the designing of temples, and it can be applied to anything. Any structure or any land, Vastu Shastra can be applied. As you all know, now Vastu Shastra has been there for thousands of years, and many of these simple remedies that I will give you shortly can make your life comfortable, make your marital life also better. And I'm sure most of you are very happy, but those of you who are a little disturbed by their marital life, they can benefit also by watching my class, by attending my class. So the subject today is marital problems, causes and remedies. So there will be problems to do with marriage. There will be reasons for that, and there are also certain remedies. See, in the Jyotisha, when we say when we look into the horoscope, it does not mean that whatever is seen in the horoscope has to happen. It is indicative, like Father many a time said, Jyotisha is indicative, and there is always, it is never fatalistic. There is always a remedy for that. For instance, like I always tell, if the forecast is for it to rain, like the weather forecast they give, it is likely to rain. All that you need to do is hold an umbrella and go out, do your work. It does not mean that you have to stop your work and stay at home. At the same time, suppose the rain is going to be a little more. What you do is you would probably go in your car, and then also the rain does not affect. But if that particular period, jyotisha period, happens to be very bad, what you do is if it's going to be a heavy downpour of rain, you're not going to sit. You're not going to go outside and drench yourself. On the other hand, what you will do is you will stay comfortably back at home. So the remedy is always there. The Jyotisha or Vastu Shastra, when it indicates, does not mean it has to happen, it will happen. It only means that by your own effort, apart from the Vastu guidelines and other guidelines that I give you, your own effort is also necessary for the remedy to work. Let us see what we have here. So, what are the common problems for marriages? Not to function properly. The husband and wife do not get together properly. They're always at clash, and they're not able to understand each other, better. What could be the common problems? Let's work on that. I'll give you a few problems that come in the way of a marriage getting disturbed, and one by one we'll see how we can see that the right remedy is found. So, what are the causes? Once we have to know the common problems, what are the cause? What could be the causes? It could be an astrological cause. It could be a vastu cause. It could be your own you yourself can be the cause for the disturbance in your married life. So, what are the remedies? So, let's see what are the remedies, whether Jyotisha, Vastu, or otherwise, One by one. First, I would like to say something about, our own person. Before going into the remedies, astrological and Vastu remedies, I would also like to tell, certain things when two people get married and start living with one another as husband and wife, it is necessary that both of them, have certain understanding between them so that their marriage is always happy. Let's see what could be the various reasons, the various points that you should follow. Now, as far as we are concerned, basically in our Sanatana Dharma, marriage is a bond of sanctity, and it is not, that you just marry for the sake of two bodies getting together, but it's a bond, for sharing each other's responsibilities, for raising up a family and continuing the lineage. That is the purpose of a marriage. So there is a sanctity in marriage. So this sanctity can be maintained. It can survive if there are certain. You should look into. I'll give you certain points if these are followed. First, there should be decent and transparent communication with each other. Husband and wife, when they get together, their interaction with each other should be very dignified and transparent. There should be nothing like hide and seek. We say when we refer to Ardhana or Ishvara, we say that the Shiva and Shakti, the strengths of Shiva and Shakti are equal. So that way, the interdependence and interaction between the two should be decent and dignified. And when I say transparent, it means whatever the husband wants to has in his life, he should share with his wife. Whatever she has in her life, she has to share with the husband. So that is important. The decent and transparent communication with each other is very important. Then mutual admiration and respect for each other. Respect for each other is very necessary. It does not mean that just because one is a wife and she's working at home, taking care of the children, you should always go and indecently talk to her and then put her down and all that. Similarly, the case of the husband being put down for every small thing of what he does by the wife, that is also not right. So mutual admiration and respect for each other is very much necessary. And both of you may be working, but the point is you should spend quality time with each other every day. It does not mean that you go just the way you want to go to the office, then you go with the friends and then come at night 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. By which time the wife or the whichever then either spouse they go to sleep. That is not the way to live. If you want a happy married life, it is necessary that you spend some quality time with your spouse and interact with her, seeking what So I mean, what is necessary for both of them to be happy in terms of children or in terms of going out, in terms of whatever. Then mutual, like I said, mutual respect for each other's spiritual life, because certain times the wife could be spiritual, she would want to do some prayer and all that, or the husband would want to go to a temple and spend some time there and all that. Both of you, should respect each other's way of life, and then based on that, you should come together and then respect each other on this aspect of life. So that way, your harmony, the inter relationship between both of you will be better. Then commitment to each other, that is also very important, because marriage, once you married, once you get married, the next logical step is to have children. When you have children, you will have a lot of responsibilities and all that. So the commitment to each other is very important. When you're taking the responsibility together, for the happiness of the family, then the marriage definitely will survive. Will survive. Then understanding each other's stress in a dignified manner. For whatever reason, the wife or the husband, they could get stressed up, either because of having late hours at the office, or because of heavy pressure on their work time, because of involvement with the children. It could be for various reasons. Each of the partners should understand the other stress in a very dignified manner, treat the other person in dignity, and that way, the harmony between the couple and in the family will definitely be better. So a lot of these things, not necessarily, to go with Jyotisha and Vastu. Last, a lot of these things, between you, both of you, you should understand, because each is born in a different family. Each understanding will be totally different. I mean, the wife, she would have been brought up in a different environment. You would have been brought up in a different environment. For you to adjust for some time, it's difficult. This is the time when both of you, should understand each other and try to see the pluses and minuses of each other, and try to rectify those things in a decent and dignified manner. Then share and manage each other's responsibility with a sense of dignified understanding. That is what in a previous thing also I told you. So you have to manage each other's responsibilities together. See, this togetherness is very important, to run a family and to have a good relationship with each other. The togetherness is very important. So that is one thing that we should follow every day. Then mutual compassion without selfishness. So that compassion should be between both of you, And all this is possible when when you share the responsibilities equally with a smile, and any differences that come to you sort it out in a decent and dignified manner. Then naturally, automatically, the mutual compassion also will be there. Then mutual sharing and respecting each other's feelings, thoughts, and attitudes. So some people, they go on putting down the other spouse, whatever he or she says, and whatever they want to convey, they always go on putting it down. So that is not proper. You should share your feelings together, and then respect each other's feelings, thoughts, and attitudes. That way, the married life will survive. Then mutual honesty and trust is very important. Together, we should be honest with each other. Suppose you need to go out somewhere, and then you just tell your spouse, over whether wife or husband, say I'm going out here, and so that way, some comfort level you should create between both of you. And then when the spouse feels that the other her or his spouse is very honest and trustworthy, then your life also will get more comfortable and happy. So before again I go into the next part, I will give you one certain simple mantras, very important mantras. See, first thing is, when you're listening to me, when you're attending my class, you should have faith in what I say. Once you have faith in what I say, and once you have faith in what you are doing, that way, things will definitely be better for you in your life. The first thing that I will give you a few mantras. These, you make it a habit to recite every day. And I give this figure as 28 times, 27 nakshatras plus 1 Abhijit. So based on that, I say you do it 28 times. And when you do that 28 times every day, regularly, at the same time and in the same place, your aura, for the Westerners, people are who are outside India, for them, they will know the word aura. That aura gets stronger and stronger. As far as people living in India, they know what the Sukshma Sharira is. The Chaitanya, that is the strength around the body, that gets stronger and stronger. When that gets stronger and stronger, it means that your response with your spouse also will be better, dignified and decent, and that way, this itself will be a very powerful remedy for the comfort of both of you. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. This is very important. Ganesha is very important. Ganesha's sloka, he is the son of Lord Shiva and Parvati. This is a very simple sloka. It's not difficult. Everyone can recite. So this simple sloka you have to recite every day 28 times. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Like that you recite. When you do the recitation, automatically Ganesha's energy, whatever it is, strengthens your own aura. So every time you go on doing that, the aura gets stronger and stronger, stronger and stronger. So at one point of time, when you need the help, and that point, this aura, will take care of you. When it takes care of you, automatically your interaction with your spouse and your interaction with the family peoples will be better. By the way, Om Gam Ganapate Nama, when I put that, and I remember my father, when we were all children, very, very young children, 3, 4, 5 years time, he taught us several mantras. And even today, I am reciting that every day. Om Vagishadjas Sumanasaha Sarvartanam Upakrame Yamnatva Krutakrutya Syuhu Tam Namami Gajanana. After that, I say Om Gam Ganapate Namaha 3 times. So let's see what is the next step. Also, carefully you note whatever mantra I'm saying. Every mantra has great potency. By doing that, your married life will definitely be better. Your relationship with your spouse will definitely be better. And it's only a few I'm saying. I'm not giving you hundreds of slokas. I'm only giving a few slokas which are very relevant. And in fact, what I would suggest is if you have children, small children, you can even teach them these mantras. So over a period of time, as they grow, their own aura gets stronger. The Raksha Kavacha for them gets stronger and stronger. Then when they grow up, they'll be able to get married to the right spouse. And when they get married to the right spouse, naturally that interaction between the spouses will be better, and the family will be happy. You will be happy. So another important, see, we should always, feel the guru is very important. Of course, the first gurus are always our parents. That is why we say Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. Then, of course, the next guru that's important is the Acharya. So you say, uh, Matra Deva Bhava, Pitru Deva Bhava, Acharya Deva Bhava. Then the fourth is, Atiti, that the guest, whoever comes to you in contact, and everyone is treated like God. So then you say Atiti Devo Bhava. But here in this prayer that I'm teaching you, Sadguru means it will cover all the gurus. When you say Sadguru, it covers all the gurus. That primary guru, he becomes the Adi Guru, the primary guru he becomes. Om Shri Sadguru Pyo Namaha. So this also, every day. My suggestion is, you can make a note. The women, I would want them to look into. Afterwards, I'll let you know. If necessary, I will tell you why to look at the direction. They can do the prayer looking into the east. East is the direction of the sun, the rising sun. And as far as men are concerned, I would prefer them to looking into the north. So, and don't change the place every day. Don't say, today I'll sit here, tomorrow I'll sit there, and all. So, if you try to occupy one particular place, your energy gets stronger and stronger, and that way, you'll be able to make your aura better, and your interaction with your family, with your wife, with your husband, gets better, and interaction with your children gets better. Interaction with your father-in-law, mother-in-law, that's also important. That also gets better. That way, the family is always happy. Of course, with the parents also it gets better. So let's see what is the next one. Om Namo Hanumate Namaha Sri Rama Raksha. So it is not just one line. Om Namo Hanumate Namaha Sri Rama Raksha. Anjaneya is said to be pleased when Sri Rama's name comes into the picture. So Om Namo Hanumate Namaha Sri Rama Raksha is an excellent mantra for people who are planning to travel abroad. So suppose they're trying to travel abroad, but they are not, being successful. By recitation of this mantra, their travel aura gets stronger, and they will be able to travel abroad. So this is practically, I've seen, hundreds of our clients. I've given them some guidance. Many of them, 90% of them, they have been benefited. Om Namo Hanumate Namaha Sri Rama Raksha. Then below that you have the beautiful photograph of Mahalakshmi. Let's see what this mantra is. This mantra is extremely important for the couple to be in harmony with each other, for them to be happy. This particular mantra is very much necessary. And I used one, Bijakshara. Om Shrim Lakshmi Narayanaya Namaha. Om Shrim Lakshmi Narayanaya Namaha. So this is a very powerful mantra. And what I would suggest is, every couple who are watching every married person who's watching my channel, and later on also on YouTube they watch, you start reciting this Om Shrim Lakshmi Narayana Namaha 28 times. If it's not impossible, Trikale they have said. Trikale means morning, sunrise, afternoon, that is noon time, when the sun is at the topmost, when we calculate the Abhijan Muhurta, and then in the evening at sunset, when we calculate the Godoli Lagna. So these three time frames are very powerful. So during that mantra, if the couple, they recite it, if they're not able to recite 28 times, also don't bother. You make it 8 times. 8 times, you recite. Morning 8 times, evening, afternoon 8 times, and evening 8 times. You regularly recite. So this will, strengthen the bond between the husband and wife. This is a very powerful mantra which I've seen, has worked tremendously well for many couples who have been, sort of disturbed and not being able to live with each other comfortably. Om Shrim Lakshmi Narayanaya Namaha. I hope you have noted all these specific mantras. So, again, marital problems, can be for various reasons. One of that could be finance. When we say finance, what are the in terms of finance, what exactly you would ask me? So let me check. What are the reasons of financial incompatibility that make or mar the marriage life, married happiness. Less income. Suppose there is less income naturally because we don't have money, for that, they're always quarreling. That could be a reason. And then loss of job. One of the spouses, he or she, loses a job, and because of that, the finances come down. When the finances come down, naturally the interaction between the couple also, suffers. That could be a reason. And then unexpected expenses. So suddenly, you have some expenses. For instance, you take a loan, to build a home. You want to build a home, or you want to buy a home. You take some loan. So you have to give an EMI of whatever, some X figure you have to give, without looking into your own strength, whether you'll be able to pay that EMI every month regularly from your salary. You just, in the interest of getting the home, you take the loan. For first 6 months you're able to pay the loan, but after that, you find you're not able to. It's an expense. You're not expecting the expense that you want to do is impossible. In the beginning stage, you feel like I can do that, but over a later period, when you find there are a lot of other responsibilities for the home and all that, including education of the children or whatever, then you find this unexpected expenses can also create animosity between the couple. Then financial independence. For instance, the husband is working or the wife is working, or one of them is not working. naturally, one of the spouses is dependent on the other spouse for money. Every time he or she goes and tries to get the money for whatever expense and all that, the clash is always there. Questioning will be there, and the interaction again becomes bad. That way, the possibility of again the husband wife not getting together is there. Then we are overspending the budget. Suppose the husband or the spouse who's earning gives some amount, say about 100 rupees. I mean just uh, just for discussion sake, gives about 100,000 rupees, and say within this month, this is the expense you have to meet with this amount. But he or she is not able to, and they spend more. For the finally, it's for the cause of the family. They spend more again, for that reason, because the budget is not met. They feel then the clashes will come again. That could be a reason. So finance, just the finance aspect itself can create a lot of problems between the husband and wife. There are different options I'm giving you. So different options of discomfort I'm giving you here. Then bad credit. So this is one another aspect. Too much of loans and such things you take, you're not able to clear all that. That is bad credit. And then lack of savings. So you don't save. So I always tell everyone, including my primarily my clients, what I tell them is, if you have 10 rupees of income, 5 rupees you expend, 3 rupees you save, and 2 rupees, 3 rupees or 4 rupees you save, put it in savings, and then 1 rupee, 2 rupees or 1 rupee you donate. So by donating 1 rupee, without your knowledge, you will be getting another 2, 3 rupees from, I mean, not in terms of money, 2, 3 rupees of strength from somewhere. So this is a very important. I found this one. The simple donations, even limited donation in terms of annadanam or vastradanam, all this can be done. But people who are not able to have a comfortable food for one day, for one meal a day, also such people you can help. So those people who do not have proper clothes and all that, you can do the vastradanam, the danam of the clothes. So like that, uh, so jyotisha, when we come to this particular problem, the second house is to do with finance, family, and speech. These are the houses that have to be looked into. 11th house is the gains and acquisitions and freedom from misery. That means 11th house is strong. That way, you will not be. 11th house is to do with primarily gains and acquisitions. So when 11th house is strong, you'll be able to take care of your finances and all that well. Then second lord in the 12th. So when the second lord, suppose your second, because most of you are astrological students, so I'm not going into the detailing of why and all that. I only just giving certain indications. You will all you most of you will know all that. When the second lord is in the 12th, this is indicative of expenses due to ill health and hospitalization. So when in a Jataka, when you look at that, so the second lord is in the 12th, you should put your effort. Karmanya vadikaraste mapaleshu kadachana, when they say, that means you have to put your effort. So, okay, the possibility of, my incurring expenses is there because of ill health and hospitalization. So let me take care of my health. You will do a lot of exercise. You don't do your jogging, do your walking, and then eat a healthy diet and all that. Naturally, then your health will be good, and your expenses also automatically will come down. So all this is, many a time, you should put in your own effort. Without your efforts, just seeing the horoscope or doing some vastu, nothing will help. You have to put your efforts. 11th lord in the 6th, 8th, or 12th results in, this is of course, many of you may have read my father's 300 important combinations. You have a lot of combinations there in different for the good combinations, bad combinations, and all that, And since I was speaking of finance, I took one combination from there. 11th lord in the 6th, 8th, or 12th results in a yoga called Daridra Yoga. So here, that means poverty could be there, debts could be there, hearing defects. They also said about this hearing defects, could be there. And you're thinking, because of all these things, you're thinking can become evil also. So when this is the case, certain things from the Vastu point of view, I'll give you some guidance. When the Vastu guidance is taken care of, all this will be minimized. I'm not saying all of them will be eliminated, but they will be minimized. Like I said, if it's going to rain, I'm going to put in umbrella. Automatically, the rain does not affect me. The rain will be coming, but it does not affect me. So that way, let's see, from the Vastu point of view, what are the sectors? See, here, what I'm doing is, okay, you just read this one. Northeast. When Northeast is taken care of, finance is taken care of, because Northeast, which is called the Ishanya, the space of God, is ruled by Jupiter, who is the significator for wealth, wisdom, and progeny. So it is necessary that you keep your Northeast always clean. The space of God, Northeast of the room, Northeast of the house, and northeast of the site. You suppose you have a compound, the northeast of that you take care. Automatically, your guru gets stronger. When your guru gets stronger, your finances are stable. So this is one important thing that you can look into. Then north is to do with north direction is Uttara. Uttara is the ruler is Kubera, and astrologically it's the ruler is Mercury, and Mercury is to do with intelligence and finance. So again, the finance aspect is there. One general guideline I'll give you is, see that from today onwards, see that all your windows are open. Don't worry about north, east, south, and west. All see that natural cross ventilation is there. And of course, not that I'm not saying that when it's going to be too cold and to a lot of rain and all that, keep them open. I'm not saying when normal weather, if it's there, if from morning to evening, well, from morning 6 to evening 6, or whatever time when the sun sets, until that time, you keep the windows open, lot of ventilation and natural sunlight when it's coming. That definitely will take care of many of these things to do with finance. East is also very important. East is the direction of, we call it Purva, it is the direction of sun. There, you get the radiance, brightness, and, arogya also. And primarily, when you speak of sun, in fact, they say Aditya Hridayam. So, what I would suggest here also when I'm speaking of that, every morning, if you're able to recite Aditya Hridayam, looking at the east, that is definitely good. Tato yuddha parishrantam samare chintyastatam ravanam chagrato drushtva yuddhaya samapastitam. It begins like that. So it will continue. So if you're able to do that, it's very good. Suppose you're not able to recite because you do not know that and you have to learn and all that. All that you need to do is go to YouTube. There you'll find one brothers, two brothers, Shastri brothers. They have recited Aditya Hridayam very well. So when you go for a walk every morning, make it a habit to go for a walk, expose yourself to the sun, so that energy will be there. 30, 40 minutes you go there, and when you walk the distance, what you need to do is you listen to the Aditya Hridayam several times. So that very powerful Raksha, of the sun will be there for you. Sun, in the planetary kingdom, he is the king. So when the king is with you, you're safe in terms of, your interaction with your spouse, interaction with your children, interaction with your parents, interaction with your in-laws. That way, that when the radiance is there for you, when the brightness is there for you, automatically, everything will be good. And in terms of, it takes care, it's not, even though we say it's Hridayam, the heart, the prayer to sun god will take care of every aspect of your health. So this is one thing that you can do. When your health is good, naturally, you with your spouse, your relationship also will be better. So here I put, this is a Pita Mandala that I put. There I've identified, three important regions: north, northeast, and east. I'm not saying the others are not important, but these are very important as far as the financial aspect is concerned. So let's go into the next one. Anjali, I got a question for you. Are you there? Okay, I don't think she is there. Uh, then relationship, that's another very important. The relationship between the couples is, because each is involved in something else, they tend to forget about their own relationship, which has to be good if the marriage has to survive. So one is infidelity, that means proximity with other sex is there constantly, is there. So to the detriment of your spouse, whoever, whether it's man or the woman, to the so that's one thing that could cause a break in relationship. Then the friction, constant friction by whatever it could be, bad talk, or bad behavior, a lot of other things, that could create friction. And then the third one was communication, indecent communication with each other, that can also break the relationship. The communication should be very dignified and decent between the couple. He should respect the other. I already told you all about all that. So the relationship factor, if it has to get stronger and better, good communication should be there. Then sexual problems, the possibility of this is also there. The husband, is interested in too much of sex. The wife is not interested. Then further the clashes, there. So it is, you should understand each other's plus and minus points, and go well with each other, so that none of these come into the way of breaking your relationship. Then substance abuse, that whatever you take, whatever something which is not to be consumed, you go on consuming or drinking and all that. That also creates a lot of imbalance in your relationship, and that way you tend to part ways. So Jyotisha, let me see what it says. Second house, finance, family, and speech. So I already said, about speech and all that. So the financial aspect is important. Family, the relationship is important, and the speech, that dignified speech is also important. So the second house has to be taken care of. Then sixth house is to do with health. When the health is good, automatically the relationships also will be good. Suppose one of the spouse is always ill, they will not there will be no relationship with other spouse means, that also sort of gives discomfort. Then we have this Kuja dosha is one factor. People go on talking about Kuja dosha, no? Even though if you go to my father's book Muhurta, where he spoken about Kuja dosha, he titles that particular chapter as the so-called Kuja dosha. So that means he does not give too much of importance. He doesn't say that is good and all that. He says, no, he doesn't give too much of importance. But let us see, when Mars is in the second, fourth, seventh, eighth, and 12th, that is when you have the Kuja dosha. So when the Kuja dosha is there, what could be the result? I'll tell you later. Rahu in the second house, disharmony with spouse. When Rahu is there in the second house, disharmony with spouse will be there. So that way, when you know that, when in the horoscope you find Rahu is in the second house, it does not mean that you have to sort of, always have disharmony with spouse. You should know, when you know that, okay, let me be a little dignified in my speech to my spouse. Let me be, listening to my spouse properly. Let me not make him or her, uncomfortable with my behavior. All that, you should, that is your effort is needed. Like I already said, without your effort, then the marriage can never survive. Just because Rahu in the second house is there, it does not mean all this will happen. When you put your effort and try to, see that you are decent and dignified with your spouse, things will be normal. Then Rahu and malefic planets in seventh house, delay and unhappiness in marriage is possible. So Rahu, malefic planets are Mars, Saturn, and Rahu, the Ketu I do not call a negative planet, because it's mostly to do with spirituality and all that. But as far as Rahu is concerned, Rahu and malefic planets are there in the seventh house. So there is delay and unhappiness in marriage. So when the compatibility is seen between two individuals, if the two individuals have to be happy, suppose in the other horoscope also you have the Rahu and malefic planets in the seventh house, then the negativity is cut. So that is one thing you can keep in mind when you suppose your a little seniors who are trying to give guidance in terms of astrology, matching, and all that. You can just check if the other partner also has similar combinations. Then the negativity is cancelled. So let's see Kuja Mangala dosha, what they are. Mars in second, normally when Mars in second, it means second is to do with speech also. So when Mars is in second, irrelevant talk, when somebody is talking about something, proper with reference to some important subject, suddenly, the fellow says, let us all go to Amitabh Bachchan's movie. So it's like that. So it's talking irrelevantly, when Mars in second, that possibility is there. This is, the Kuja dosha effects I'm saying. Then when Mars in fourth, he or she can be a little aggressive and impulsive also. And then Mars in the seventh, differences with spouse and family members. That way, the entire harmony is sort of broken. So when astrologically, when you know that certain combinations are there, then you have to be a little careful, and interacting with the spouse, interacting with your family, be a little decent and dignified, and maintain certain amount of decorum. That way, the Mars in seventh may not affect the Kuja dosha in that way may not affect. So you're like continuously, I'm telling you, your effort is also very important. Without your effort in seeing that the marriage is calm and comfortable, nothing is possible. Then eighth, suppose Mars is there in the eighth. It is This is what the text say. I'm saying it is said to affect the spouse's life. So when says that it affects the spouse's life, the spouse, should take care of her health. She should be careful. For instance, the possibility of accidents could be there. So he or she, should carefully drive the vehicle, whatever vehicles are there. Then, when they are crossing the roads, be careful. Such things, those, preventive measures they have to take. So let's see, Mars in the 12th. When Mars is in the 12th, no, there is uncontrolled anger is possible. Then sex life, could may not be compatible between the husband and wife. The sex life may not be compatible, and this could also mean that could be losses in life. In terms of money, in terms of property, in terms of values. All this could be possible. And but one thing that we also need to remember is when speaking of this Kuja Mangala dosha, all these things, I'm speaking with reference to the married couple. If a married couple are, you're planning to get married to somebody else, the proper matching of horoscope is very much necessary for both of them to live happily. So here, the Mangal dosha is considered not just from the Lagna, it is considered from the moon, and it is also considered from the Venus. So my father, I think, if I remember, he says, considered from Lagna and Moon, the dosha is minimal. It is only, when it comes to Venus, and it comes to the 12th house, it only means, that the compatibility, sexual compatibility may be lacking, and because of that, the differences between the couple may arise. Now, let's see from the Vastu point of view. Northeast definitely always, Northeast is very important. I already said, you have to take care of Northeast. Then Southwest, Northwest, Southwest. Southeast, I should have said, it's come as Southwest. That means all the four sides of a mandala, they're all very important. And then finally, the center or the Brahmasthana, that is also very important. The center is Brahmasthana. So the Brahmasthana is taken care of, the relationships normally are very good. That compatibility between the partners will be there. So you should, when you are constructing homes and all that, you should tell your structural engineer not to have, the columns put in the Brahmasthana. The Brahmasthana is here. If you can see my cursor here, can you see my cursor here? I think you can see my cursor. This is Brahmasthana. So Brahmasthana, if you cross there, this is exactly the Nabi. In the Nabi, you should not have any columns and pillars and all that. Similarly, in these corners, these are all very important, very sensitive corners. There also the pillars should be. So they should be slightly, moved to the left or right and then placed. So when you talk with your structural engineer constructing a new house, you have to take care of all this one. So when the Brahmasthana and the four sides are taken care of, the relationship normally in the family, whether it's between the husband, wife, whether it's between the parents and the children, whether it's between the grandparents and the parents, whether it's between the mother in-laws and the son and daughter, All this could be definitely better. Relationships will be better. So a lot of remedies are there. The remedies, when properly, the problems can minimize, not necessarily eliminate. Eliminated cannot be there because we come into this world with a prarabdha karma, so that accumulation will be there. We can definitely minimize. It's like saying, I have a loan in the bank, but when I go on putting some money back into the bank, that loan gets reduced. It's like that. You cannot say the loan is gone. You should, when you go on paying, that is so that effort, when you do the right effort, the relationship automatically gets better, and the people are happy. Next, we come to one important thing. This is called the irresponsible behavior between the couple. Criticism, silent distancing. So criticizing is each other for silly, stupid things. You go on criticizing each other. Automatically, I mean that is nothing but irresponsible behavior. Automatically, the distancing between the couple begin to, get more and more. Then silent distancing. That means the spouse is the wife or the husband is expecting the spouse to say something, expecting him to help or something, but him or her to help. Then the spouse, he or she keeps just silent without, showing any response on the part of him or her. So this is also possible. This is also again very irresponsible behavior, which could lead to discomfort and disharmony and separation of the couple. Then contempt. Whatever the husband does or whatever the wife does, there is always contempt. What is this? Many people they do better than you. That sort of attitude and all. That is called contempt. That contempt also can sort of create a lot of imbalance between the relationship. Then we have nagging. Some husbands or wives. I mean, I will not identify husband or the wife. Either way, it could be possible. So that nagging is also there. They go on nagging each other for all silly and stupid reasons. Then automatically that again builds a bridge, breaks the bridge between the husband and wife. And this is, of course, another irresponsible behavior. Then you have, defense and reasoning. For everything you say, you try to defend yourself. Whatever some clarification is needed, you don't answer that, and then you just because I've been busy, I'm not able to do that. You go on giving, some stupid reasoning and all that. So defense and reasoning, can also create much disparity between the couple. This is another mental disorder, which is irresponsible behavior. Then refusing to discuss. Suppose the husband and wife had to take an important decision. The wife or the husband, one of the spouses, goes on not entertaining the discussion at all. For whatever reason he or she keeps away. Automatically, the relationship factor gets bitter and bitter. And this again is a very irresponsible behavior of and it's we can call it a mental disorder only. So that way, all these things, not necessarily only because of astrological way or giving remedies or doing the vastu. You yourself, when you know this, automatically can minimize all the other discomfort between the husband and wife. Then too much of expectation. The husband is getting some money and the wife is getting some money, but your expectations from each other could be much more than what you are getting. So that way, and again, the differences will erupt more and more. There will always be you know a disconnect between both of you. This is another mental disorder which we can call as irresponsible behavior, and that could break or sort of affect the relationship, the husband-wife relationship. Moon, Mercury, and Rahu are very important. Moon is to do with the mind, Mercury is to do with intelligence, and Rahu is to do with out of the box thinking and crazily thinking, and all that. Rahu is very important. So, all these the things, when you are able to, like I just now tell you, when you're able to take control of all that. Here, I will give you one small sloka where I'm not written it here, but if you can remember, that is good. Mercury, of course, the best sloka is Vishnu Sahasranama, but not everyone will be able to recite the Vishnu Sahasranama. But in Vishnu Sahasranama, there's one particular sloka which is like, which reciting which is almost like reciting the Vishnu Sahasranama. Here, what I would suggest is, here what I would suggest is, I'll give you that sloka. You can make a note. I mean, if I don't know whether this is tomorrow, it may be available on YouTube also. So that way, you will know the sloka. Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. So this is a very powerful thing. So whenever you're free, you're doing nothing and just sitting somewhere, mentally you go on reciting that Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanani. So what happens is automatically, your thinking process, everything gets better. When your thinking process get better, your irresponsible behavior also, will get better. I mean, you'll start behaving better and all that. And one more thing also that I can suggest is, where at bedtime the couple, to benefit both the couple, at bedtime, when you sleep on the bed, you play the Vishnu Sahasranama of M.S. Subbulakshmi. Vishnu Sahasranama of MS Subbulakshmi at minimal volume next to your bed. And you sleep. I'm not asking you to listen completely. You can just sleep. Halfway through also, if you get this sleep, it doesn't matter. It will create a very powerful ambience. Make it a daily habit. And this will, create, great compatibility between the husband and wife. At the same time, this particular Vishnu Sahasranama hearing is very good for your children also. So the children, they're now trying to study, do better in their exams. Your parents also want them to do better in the exams. So what I would suggest is, see that they also, you make it a habit every day. You play the Vishnu Sahasranama at minimal volume, and that way they're thinking the brain, will get affected in the sense positively affected. They will get good sleep. Next morning they will get up, with the brightness in their eyes, and then they'll be able to attend the school, and there, they will be able to get A grades and A plus grades. The children will get, when they get the grades properly, automatically the parents also, they get happy. When the parents get happy, they'll interact with each other better, and their marital life will be better. So fifth house is to do with mental health. Rahu conjunction moon is invariably, craving excessively to the extent of taking impractical and irresponsible decisions. So this is one thing, in astrological. So when this is the thing, I would ask you to recite the Rahu sloka. From the Navagraha Stotra, you have the Rahu Stotra, Ardhakayam Mahaviryam Chandraditya Vimardhanam Simhika Garbha Sambhutam Tam Rahum Pranamamyaham. Let me see what is the time left for me. 6:54. Wow. Already 1 hour is over. What do I do? The affliction to the fifth house and the fifth lord may indicate problems with respect to logical thinking. So this is also another mental order, mental disorder. And let's see from the Vastu point of view, what is the uh, northwest Vayuvya moon. The northwest, the planet, astrological planet is moon, which is to do with mind and mother. Northeast is Jupiter, the guru, that is to do with wisdom. And so when the wisdom is okay, your behavior pattern also gets better. So northeast has to be kept clean. Northwest is why you always try to have lot of air flowing there. You can keep the windows open so the air is there. So that way, your thinking pattern also gets better, and your behavior also, gets better. Then southwest Nairutia, which is Rahu's place, greed, too intelligent, manipulation, obsessive, and all that. So as a rule, southwest always has to be closed. So don't keep the southwest openings and all that. I mean, you can have windows and all that, but don't have the structure in such a way that southwest is always does not have any strength there. It's kept open. When the southwest is too open and all that, the Rahu activity gets stronger. When the Rahu activity gets stronger, it means, and again, you tend to think differently, and your behavior again becomes irresponsible. So here, when we look into this aspect, so I said I told you that. So this is the so you can whatever I just now told you. Southwest, northwest, and northeast I have marked. So now these are become very important to control the irresponsible behaviors of the couple. So either couple, if they act irresponsible, naturally the difference, the marital difference will become more and more, and unhappiness will set in. Then we have the bad habits, So it could be visual and social media. For instance, one of the spouses is always interested in constantly looking into the TV, and so the spouse comes and says, I want some coffee. I want it. You know, so they say you get it yourself. I'm looking at the TV. I may miss this important serial and all that. So this way, that again, it's a very bad habit that could bring in unnecessary friction between the couple. Then unnecessary delay. The delay is always there, which is so they would tend to do certain things. It has to be done within 1 hour. They do it, 2 or 3 days later. That also, is which a bad habit, which can cause differences between the couple. Drinking and smoking. Some people have that. They constantly go on drinking, even though everywhere you find that drinking is injurious to your health, smoking is injurious to health. Many of the people, they go on drinking, they go on smoking. That way, the partner, whoever it is, he or she gets disturbed, and then the relationship automatically suffers. Then over the spending, when you have 100 rupees, you try to spend 200 rupees by borrowing from somebody. That loan goes on developing more and more. So this again, one of the bad habits that can create friction between the couple. Then laziness, so one of the partners is too lazy. Whatever you say, we to leave for the airport at 4 o'clock, the partner is still sleeping at 4 o'clock. So that way, the differences multiply, and again, because of this bad habit, the interaction between the couple gets affected. Then certain people have this nasty habit of nail biting. When they're sitting there in the air. For instance, I've seen that when they're sitting in the airport, waiting for the flight, they go on biting their nails. I mean, see, this is another bad habit. And I found that the other spouse, he looks at the spouse doing the nail biting so many times, but he or she does not understand. Then this is another bad habit. No speaking. Also, some people, whether they're people or no people, between they just go on doing all this will create a lot of friction between the couple, and tend to so this is all these things you can take care. Now you don't need to have the astrological remedy, or but these things you can take care. Behave in a better pattern, so that way husband and wife should start thinking alike. Then your happiness will be more. Jyotisha, Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury and Rahu, we speak of for this, anything to do with bad habits. Second and 12th house of finance and house of expenditure is also important. Somebody in some, they want to go on spending and all, that's a bad habit. They have 100 rupees, but they want to spend 1,000 rupees. So that's it. So second and 12th house have to be considered. If Rahu is in the second house, it may make one prosper, but at the same time, Rahu can keep one unwell continuously. So this is also important. His mental imbalance sets in, and he's always unwell. He or she is always unwell. This can also indicate one will be prone to lie and speak without dignity. Some people have that. They don't speak truth at all. Always speaking lies, lies, lies. Even before their partner, they go on doing that. Even with their partner, they do that. So naturally, the friction gets more and more, and that way the marital discord increases. So in the Vastu point of view, the central area, uh, Brahmasthana. I relate Brahmasthana to Ketu because if you carefully observe in Vastu Shastra, they have not identified Ketu's position at all. But if you carefully observe in astrology, Rahu is always opposite of Ketu. So here, opposite of Rahu in the horoscope, you have Jupiter. So Jupiter cannot be related to Ketu, but what I've done is the Brahmasthana is another part. So I put Ketu there. So Ketu, you can relate to Brahmasthana. Then Ishanya is Jupiter, wisdom is lost. So bad habits, all sorts of bad habits will come. Southeast Agni is there, when Agni gets disturbed again, when Agni, that southeast has to do with Venus. Venus, when it's disturbed, also, naturally, the material bad habits related to material objects can get more. So and then southwest Nairit, I already told about Rahu. So southwest also, if you do not care, take care. As the rules, I try to have so the strength. The southwest is called the strength area. So you try to have some strength there. Don't have your water and such other things there, and then Rahu will be kept under control. Then again, northwest Vayu, moon, and say almost all the areas in there. When you say here, you see that all the corner areas and the central areas are covered. So these marital problems, can multiply if the vastu of the home is not taken care of well. So you have to take care of all that carefully. So then finally, I think this is the final one. We come to children. When you speak of children, complaining, you constantly, complaining. With children go on complaining. The parents get irritated, and between the parents, the mother is, a little. She tries to, talk to the child and all that, but the father gets angry. So again, the distancing between the couple is possible. Then by not studying, the children not studying also, that will disturb the health of the children is also important. When the health of the children are affected, naturally, expenditure increases. When the expenditure increases, again, the differences between the parents also will come. The mother will say, we have to, he is our son, you have to spend money and all that. But father says, where is the money I'm constantly spending and all that. For that reason also, the differences can come. Then eccentric behavior of the children, that also, disturbs the parents, and their mutual cordiality also gets affected. Then constant lying, like I told you, for the elders also, this constant lying is also, some children have the prone to constantly lie. That also can affect the relationship between the parents. And then sometimes the children are too aggressive. When they are too aggressive, naturally, the disturbance to the parents is there. Then the mobile addiction now these days also, this mobile addiction is getting more and more. So when the mobile addiction gets more and more, naturally, the clash between the parents and the children, the family harmony is also lost. When the family harmony is lost, the husband wife also, the discord between husband and wife and all, it gets more and more. So jyotisha, we speak of Venus, Jupiter, Kalatrakarak and Putrakaraka, second, third, and fifth house of family, house of siblings, communication, house of children. Then if Jupiter aspects the fifth house, one may have good children, but Jupiter in the fifth house can mean no children or constant friction with children. Because they say, uh, Karako Bhavanashaya. So Karako Bhavanashaya, based on that principle, Jupiter does not mean that the children will not be there. It also means, that there's always constant friction with children. So that also, can create a discomfort in the marital compatibility. If male fixed aspect the fifth house or fifth house discomfort from the children may result, this also could be reason for the discomfort. As far as the Vastu aspects are concerned, again, we say northeast, northwest, southeast, north, center, Brahmasthana, all these are covered. So everything is covered, all the four corners are covered, and the central area, Brahmasthana, is also covered. All this, so, when all these are properly balanced and taken care of, naturally, the cordiality between the couple is there, cordiality in the family is there, and they will be happy. This physical abuse, sometimes, physically each other they go on abusing, sexually they abuse, then emotionally they abuse, bringing in some factors of relationships, and then by that, the abuse is there. Then economic or psychological actions or threats that frighten, intimidate, terrorize, manipulate, hurt, humiliate, blame, injure, or wound either. So whichever way, that constant physical abuse is constant. Physical and mental abuse is always there. For that one, Jyotisha says Sun, Mars, Saturn, and Ram Ketu in the first or seventh house can indicate the violent nature of the spouse. Jupiter Rahu combination, Guru Chandala Yoga, it's called Guru Chandala Yoga. Wisdom goes for a toss. The native begins to lose track of the three Ds. There is no dignity, decency, and decorum with the spouse. So that way, there is total marital discord. So we'll see again northeast, southwest, northwest, southeast, center of the building, Brahmastra. Again, all of them are so every part of the house, Vastu, if you guys rectify many of these aspects of the differences between the couple and between the family, they can be set right. So I think I already told you about all this one. Last two, I'll finish with this one. What I want is The natural cross ventilation is very important. When you think of a house, when you're there, you should see that natural, the cross ventilation and all the windows should be open to see that, natural light and natural ventilation is always there. It's very important. From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., make it a habit. From tomorrow onwards, from today and tomorrow onwards, you see that natural ventilation is always there. Some people, they're always living in that, air conditioned atmosphere. It, creates so much of negative energy. Everything, reflects on their domestic life. The natural sunlight into home, that is also important. See that natural sunlight as much as possible comes into the home. And the rooms not to be on the electric furnace room. A furnace room is a room in the, in particular, I'm speaking of in USA, they have these furnace rooms on the top of which, they have a room. So when you have a room like that, automatically, everything gets affected. So restrooms and powder rooms, that's also never to be attached to the southwest or northeast of the room. For instance, here the bed is the head is to the south. So that means, in the southwest where the door is, it means there is a powder room or a restroom there. So you have to see that, it is never there. That part where I'm pointing my mouse, you should not have the restroom there. So take care of this. This automatically, creates much comfort level in your domestic life. So let's not go. It's already too late. Let's close this one. Last two points I say. Never have your visual media on the south or west. Wrong orientation can distance family members, including couples. So this is very important. Never have your visual media on the south or west, and never ever have your mirrors on the south or west walls. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of houses where they have had mirrors on the south and west walls. There is always disharmony in the family, disharmony among the couple, disharmony among the family members. So never ever have it. The marital relationships invariably suffer. So differences between husband and wife multiply very fast. So whoever has mirrors on the south and west walls, you please relocate that. So before the discomfort sets in, you will find some peace. So this chakras also the spinal column is very important. What I find is uh, when you're sitting at some place, you have the energy sitting here, energy is hitting here. So when you have the energy sitting there, what happens is different right from the top, Sahasrara, Agna Chakra, Vishuddhi, Anahata, Manipura, Swadhisthana, Mooladhara at the navel, Mooladhara, everything gets affected. So all the chakras from the base to the neck highlight the importance of the spinal cord. When these are all okay, the health is good. Sahasrara, Agna, Vishuddha, Anahata, Manipura, Swadhisthana, and Mooladhara. So then, so what I would suggest is always sit with your back closer to the. This is very important. Always sit. Earlier also, I think I've told you, the spinal cord is the main pathway of communication between the brain and the rest of the body. It is a long, thick, fragile structure that extends downward from the base of the brain to the navel and can be cause for various ailments. When all these various elements you have, automatically the relationship with your spouse also definitely suffers. He or she may be in good health, but you are always in bad health. Means naturally, the tendency to shift to some other person is also there. And in fact, this is what a Krishna devotee wrote to me just 3 4 days back. By changing my direction of sitting and always closing the door behind my chair so that my back is against the wall, my back problems have reduced tremendously. I told my Guru Maharaja also of this recommendation, and he also felt very benefited. So that is there. And so sitting with back closer to the wall can eliminate, minimize the following ailments: chronic headaches, lower back pain, neck, knee, and hip pain, frequent illness, excessive fatigue, numbness in the hands or feet, menstrual problems. See, that's also very important. Many of this, when you have the menstrual problems, naturally, your sex life with the spouse, will get affected, and that way, the marital incompatibility will be there. Then migraine and more, headaches, every small a few days, in every few days you start getting migraine and all that. That also can disturb your married life. So the first thing that you need to learn is from today onwards, with your back closer to the wall. Ladies, you look into the east. men look into the north. So the best way to balance the primary, if you're planning, if you have a site and you're planning to build a home, the best way to balance the primary elements and keep your married life happy is to build a courtyard house. When you build a courtyard house, naturally, this is a plan of a courtyard house. You will definitely have all the primary elements balancing. That way, your compatibility between the persons living there, including the husband wife, will be better. And when your married life is better and your family life is better, you will tend to prosper better. Thank you so much. Namaste. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu.
Very insightful class. Our audience definitely appreciated it. We now move to the Q&A session. The questions will come up on the screen. You can kindly read it out aloud for the benefit of everyone and then answer them.
Where do the questions come? 11th Lord Venus for Sagittarius Lagna sitting 6th house Taurus will still consider Daridra Yoga. Manju is 11th Lord Venus for Sagittarius Lagna sitting in the 6th house. He'll be there when I speak of Taurus in the same house, even though he's sitting in the 6th house, it does not cause Daridra Yoga. Next. Because he is there in his own house, so it will not cause. Funny Rama Sharma, Guruji, physical violence in family relationship, what is cause and Vastu remedy? I think I spoke to you about that, no? I've already spoken to you about that. Uh, one thing is between the couple, between the couple, you should have some dignified understanding with each other. And when the physical violence is the north, you just check on the northeast. That's also important. When you check on the northeast, if the northeast, suppose you have a toilet or a restroom in the northeast, automatically the wisdom will suffer with the members in the family. They become violent and all that. Then again, Rahu is the southwest. Rahu is the southwest is Rahu. So there also you just check there in the southwest also if you have your toilets and restrooms and such things there, that could also be reason. West is to do with no, it is called strength area. So you see that some strength is created there in the west, and some strength is created there in the south, which is the direction of Mars. That way, the physical violence also can minimize. See that southwest and northwest are both very important. You see that they're always kept neat and clean. Vijay Bhaskar, Guruji, you mentioned moon conjunction with Rahu gives mental problem. Is it the same if moon or aspect each other? So naturally, that also has that also is the same. The mental problem is there. If Rahu and Moon aspect each other, Moon aspecting Rahu is okay, but Rahu aspecting the Moon, then naturally the mind will get disturbed. When the mind gets disturbed, the mental conditions will automatically manifest. It will be the same. Can we also, Prashant Dubey, can we also say, sir, that a D30 chart, malefics in fifth house and penfix in sixth house, marital problems? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to the divisional charts now, I don't want to say because I'm concentrating on the basic Rashi chart and the Vastu aspects only. So let's not go into D30, but this is one point to be considered. How does Kurma Chakra related to Vastu, Guruji? I'm not aware of Kurma Chakra. So you can tell me, you can put one more comment and tell me, what that Kurma Chakra, then I'll let you know. Any more? Mangal in fifth house with Sun and Budh and having Kanya Lagna with Moon in seventh house. Mangal in fifth house with Sun and Budh. See, one thing that we need to know is, hey, why I have not even answered? One thing that we need to know is when Sun and Buddha, they're together, it creates Buddha Aditya Yoga. So when Mangal is there, Mangal says Sun is the king, Buddha is the prince, and Mangal is commander in chief. So when the commander in chief is there, he has to listen to the sun. He has to listen to sun and Mercury. So, but whatever discomfort that you may have because of this combination, you have to take the assistance of the sun. I already said how to take of that, and take the assistance of both. So Mangal, will not disturb too much. When two house each other for one northwest direction is with toilet and for another house becomes northeast direction, then they place puja on which house people suffer. Two houses each other for one northwest direction is with toilet and for another house it becomes northeast direction. See, but this house, the structure itself, the mandala itself is separate, no? When the mandala itself is separate, how does it affect the other house? Suppose it's joined and they're living together, then it's different. But when you're living in one particular part of the mandala, then it does not affect, no? But if within your home, if it's in the northeast direction, it definitely affects. Your wisdom will go for a toss. And Jupiter is also the significator for not just wisdom, for wealth and progeny also. So you'll have problems with the wealth and progeny. But if it's two separate, for instance, it's a flat and two separate entities, where with reference to the structure itself, it is not in the northeast, you don't need to bother. Seventh Lord, this is Bikash Dash. Seventh Lord Jupiter retrograde in second house for a Virgo Lagna. Parivartan with Venus in seventh house exalted. What is the karma with spouse Guruji? This is a good karma. See, the retrograde Jupiter, when the Parivartana is there with Venus in the seventh house, retrograde Jupiter is not bad. One thing that you should understand, many people mechanically go on thinking of Jupiter, mechanically think of retrograde being bad. Retrograde is not bad. Retrograde means, he's stronger. So, in fact, this Parivartana, Jupiter, Shukra Parivartana is definitely good. Guruji in Duple house in first floor southeast corner. If bath restroom located in Iran. It's okay, no, in the southeast corner, northwest or southeast corner, the restrooms are fine. You don't need to bother too much about that. The solution is, from the Vastu point of view, Umang Hingane says, Guru in 12th house, Taurus, Lagna, creates Daridra Yoga. So what's the solution? The solution, what I would say is, the solution is you have to keep the northeast. Northeast is to do with Jupiter, northeast clean. And if you are able to activate water in the north of north is to do with Mercury, northeast is to do with Jupiter. So in that particular place, if you are able to activate water, your Daridra effect will come down. You'll be able to, have some, you'll be able to have some comfort in your financial condition. Are we through? D1 chart of Prashant Dubey. Does D1 chart of owner of house also decide Vastu Guruji? And for Kurma, I'm unable to upload picture. Okay, forget it. Uh, See, the owner of the house is different. The people who are residing there is important. If the owner does it, if the people in the house suffer, automatically he suffers. So that's it. Whatever, in the D1 chart, if there is an imbalance, you're not speaking. If the owner is not there, there's no point in, go back. If the owner is not there, then you don't need to bother. No, that's because you're staying in that house. If there, the rest of the vastu aspects are taken care of, you don't need to bother. Don't need to bother about the chart. Next, seventh lord Mercury retrograde and combust in the eighth house. Vegetarian Lagna. Difficulty in getting married. See, these personal questions and all, you'll have to consult me separately. That way, here I will not. I will not tell you how to get married and all that. But one thing that I already told you is this sloka, the Lakshmi sloka that I said, no. Om Shrim Lakshmi Narayanaya Namaha. Om Shrim Lakshmi Narayanaya Namaha. You recite this 3 times a day. At 3 points of the day, 28 times each time, facing north. And if it's for the male, if it's for the boy, facing north. If it's for the woman, you face east and recite that. And I'm sure he or she will get married early. Guruji, Rajaram says, Guruji, is any plant growing in house may affect to dispute in marriage? No, I do not say anything because landscaping can be done everywhere. It doesn't matter. But if you find that you put too much of thorn plants, in the north and east, that could affect the relationship factor with the spouse. Next, shall we close?
Thank you again, Sri Niranjan Babu ji, for the excellent masterclass.
Thank you.
Before we end the session, I would like to take this opportunity to inform the audience that the next masterclass session is on Saturday, October 15, 2022. The class will be by Ms. Lalita Donatella, and she will be teaching us about the techniques of Dasha interpretation. See you again there. Also, if you would like to stay informed about the masterclasses and similar sessions by the Foundation, we encourage you to visit our website www.rrrf.in or join our Telegram channel. Namaste.